Most people really overcomplicate how to figure out the calories that they need to eat daily, to either lose fat, maintain their weight, or build muscle. But what if I told you there's a really easy way to simply track what you're doing right now that's going to give you more accurate and better information than any sort of nutrition calculator could? I'm Luke from The Strong Kitchen, and I'm going to give you a really simple way to figure that out that's accurate and gives you really actionable information. It just requires a little bit of your time and a little bit of your focus, and you're going to know exactly what to do moving forward so you can leave all that confusion behind you. Make sure you comment energy down below so we'll send you the free PDF and video on how to determine your daily energy needs. In this video, we're going to give you what you need to know to understand your daily energy needs, how to track, how to prioritize protein and calculate your macros, and then how to keep this progress moving forward. So what are daily energy needs? What are calories? Well, one thing that a lot of people misunderstand is that calories are simply a unit measuring heat. Food does not contain calories. Food contains energy, and we measure how much energy is in that food by how much heat is released when you digest it. So protein and carbohydrates have 4 calories, which is 4 units of heat energy per gram. Fat has 9, and alcohol has 7. Now, when people think about their metabolism, they think of like this inner engine that's somehow inside their body chugging along. But your metabolism is really just the cumulative energy needs from all of your organ systems and the amount of exercise and daily activity you do each day. So actually, most of your daily energy needs are from your organ systems. Things like your heart, your liver, your intestines, they are driving the majority of the calorie needs each day, which means that if you're a larger person, even if you're overweight, you need more calories per day than a smaller person. Size typically does determine calorie needs. And if you're larger and you have more muscle mass and you're more active, you need even more. But don't confuse that somebody says, well, I'm tiny, but I eat a ton. Generally, if you're smaller, you need less. If you're larger, you need more. Now, aside from organs, of course, like your brain needs a lot of glucose, you have your daily energy expenditure. Now, let's take exercise out of that. Your daily energy expenditure, simply from how much you move, is going to be the next largest determinant of your calorie needs each day, your energy needs each day. So if you're somebody who works on your feet, like a nurse, teacher, or if you're a chef and you're getting 10, 15, 20, 25,000 steps a day and you're really busy constantly moving, you are definitely going to be expending more energy and needing more food than somebody who sits at a desk all day. So that's one of the big reasons people push steps, is simply getting you moving more expends a few more calories. Now, there is the cost of digestion, which is energy intensive, and that factors in as well. Well, we've got the 2 big ones first, which is your organ systems, basically how big you are, your daily activity level, not counting exercise, and then your exercise is going to be somewhere near the bottom. Now, if you train 3 or 4 times a week for an hour, you'd probably be expending about 300 to 500 calories per session, but it's still not a ton. So if you train for an hour and then you went home and you ate like a cup and a half of walnuts, you've definitely exceeded the energy you've expended in your exercise by eating those nuts. Now, that's where people fall into a trap, is that they think, well, I exercise a lot, so I must need a ton of energy. I must need a ton of calories to replenish all that energy expended during exercise. And while you do need some, it's not nearly as much as you think. And that gets into the trap of the kind of expenditure reward scenario where if I exercise, I earn more food, and that's a really dangerous cycle. So I think the biggest thing to understand is your energy needs are largely coming from how large you are and your organs and just your movement each day. That's basically just survival. Once we determine that, it's actually really easy to figure out what you need to eat to lose body fat. So if you're looking for a way to wrangle all of this information and find out a number that you can work with for your daily energy needs, I've got a couple simple solutions for you. They do require a little bit of dedication, and I need you to give me a week of your time. But once you're at the end, all of that BS, all of the confusing numbers, everything you've heard online isn't going to matter, because you're going to have the numbers that actually matter. So I need you to do 2 things. One is that you download a fitness tracking app like Chronometer or MyFitnessPal. And 2 is you get a digital scale so you can weigh and measure your food. With those two things, you don't change anything about your diet for a week. You eat exactly the way you do every single day, and you're gonna weigh and measure everything you eat, and you're gonna log it all into your nutrition coaching app. Now, the reason we're doing this is if you don't change anything about your diet and your body weight stays the same, whatever numbers you get on average over the course of that week are your maintenance numbers. There's no two ways about it, which means you need to weigh yourself every single morning as well. So you're gonna get up, get into your underwear, go to the bathroom, and then hop on the scale. That's the first thing you do every day. Then throughout the day, whether you pack your meals ahead of time, or if you go out to eat, let's say you go to Subway, you can find that nutrition information in your nutrition app, and you're gonna log that. Every damn thing that goes into your mouth, you are logging. Do not cheat or skip out on this step, because you're only gonna cheat yourself. If you do this correctly, at the end of the week, you're going to take the average numbers. So you're gonna have days 1 through 7. You're gonna add them all together, divide by 7 to get your daily average. If your weight has not changed that much from the beginning of the week to the end, that daily average is your maintenance calories. Nobody can tell you differently. Those are your maintenance calories. What's so freeing about this is once you know what your maintenance calories are, all you have to do is subtract between 200 and 500 calories a day to get into fat loss. Now, let's say you have a scenario where you get your daily average and then you find out that you actually gained weight at the end of the week. So you went up a little bit in weight, or you went down a little bit in weight. If your body weight went down, that means you ate a little bit under your maintenance calories. And if your weight went up, that means you ate a little bit over your maintenance calories. But aside from a pound or two trending change, if your weight largely stays the same, those are your maintenance calories. If you can give this a week and you can dedicate yourself to weighing and measuring, tracking and weighing yourself as well, you're gonna have a really powerful number that can literally change your life because there's no more guessing. You've already logged a week, and now all you need to do is adjust those numbers up or down by a couple hundred, and you'll be moving in the direction you want. Now, I can kind of hear your thoughts. Does that mean I have to weigh and measure everything forever? No, it doesn't mean that you have to do that. But it does mean that you need to do it up front, because you're not going to be able to eat what people call intuitively until you have the experience to be able to look at certain foods and know the general calorie or macro amount for those foods. So that's often kind of a misnomer for me when people say, well, I eat intuitively. I don't think you can eat intuitively until you have enough information that allows you to use your intuition to judge what to eat. If you don't know what a carbohydrate is, if you don't know that fat has 9 calories per gram, if you're not aware of the fact that there's a difference between 85-15 beef and 93-7 beef, how could you possibly eat intuitively because you don't have enough information? Weighing and tracking, even for just a few months, if you do it consistently and accurately, is going to build in that experience and that knowledge that will then allow you to eat intuitively. So you're going to eat probably largely the same foods all the time. By the end of 3 months or 6 months of doing this, you're going to be like, yeah, I know an apple is about 80 calories. Yeah, I know a slice of bread is about 20 to 25 grams of carbs. So then you can eat intuitively because you have that knowledge. So the thing that you need to do is just determine how long you need to do this until you feel comfortable enough to break away from tracking, to be able to look at certain foods and make those intuitive choices. If you don't feel like you're ready for that, or as soon as you stop tracking, the train goes off the rails, then just get back on and stay with it until you're ready. Okay, so let's say you have your maintenance calories now and you're like, well, what do I do with this? Well, if your goal is to lean out, which is probably 9 out of 10 people's goals, maybe even 99 out of 100, even if you want more muscle mass, most of us want to be leaner and look better in the mirror. So if that's your goal and you have your maintenance calories, really all you need to do now is to make a small adjustment. So let's say I tracked my calories over a week and I weighed myself, my weight stayed the same, and I ended up with an average of 2,600 calories a day that I was consuming. Well, the first thing I want to do is say, well, if 2,600 calories is my maintenance, then let me start off with a manageable number I can reduce from that. That's going to get me to start leaning out, but I'm not going to be so damn hungry that I overeat at night or I go immediately off the rails. So I would say start between 200 and 500 calories in the form of a reduction to get you moving in the right direction. If you find that you're already hungry or maybe you're a little bit nervous, just start less. Start with 200 calories, and you can stay there until your progress stalls. That's the beauty of it. If you subtract 200 or 300 calories from your daily average a day and you're leaning out, you just follow that number until your progress stalls for a week. So if you go through a whole week and you haven't lost any weight, you don't notice any changes in the mirror, then you're going to subtract another 100 or 200 calories from the previous number you were following, and you're going to run that until that progress slows. And that's the easiest and most straightforward way to lean out and lose body fat, is you're making these small adjustments, but you're only making them when progress stalls. Because if you cut 1,000 calories from your daily total, of course you're going to start leaning out, but you have no idea what number was going to get you to lean out in a way that's more sustainable. So you're just going to say, well, I know I've always got to cut 1,000 calories from my diet if I want to lean out, and that's not true. So we want to start slow and then just increase that deficit as progress stalls. The same goes for building muscle. You're going to start off with 200 to 300 calories over your daily maintenance, and you're going to trend, and you're going to watch your body weight, you're going to watch your lifts go up, you're going to watch your measurements and how you look in the mirror. And when that stalls, you're going to go up 200 or 300 calories at a time and work your way up that way. So it's the same approach in two different directions. All right, so we have our calorie numbers. You're moving in one direction or the other, most likely. Now, what do we do with our macros? The most important thing first is that you set your protein number. If you're exercising, you're doing some sort of strength training, which is ideal, which is going to not just maintain your muscle mass, but build it. Let's say you're doing that 2 to 3 times a week. You're going to want to consume adequate protein so you're recovering well and you have the means to build more muscle mass. Even if you're overeating calories, if you're not consuming enough protein, you won't be able to build enough muscle. And that's because amino acids, which are the building blocks of protein, are the only thing that actually build muscle tissue. So even if you ate a ton of fat, even if you ate a ton of carbs, without adequate protein, you're not going to build the kind of muscle that you're looking for. So we're going to set protein next. If we look at protein researchers like Don Layman, we're going to get somewhere between 1.8 to 2.2 grams of protein per kilogram. Now, most of us are probably in the US, so what does that number look like? Well, you're probably more in the range of somewhere like 0.7 to 1 gram per pound of body weight. So if you weighed 150 pounds, you're going to be around like 120 to 150 grams of protein per day. Now, some might say that's in excess, but what you really want to do is maximize your protein intake so you're getting the maximum benefit from it, and there's very little downsides. The stress on your kidneys is really an unfounded fear. Your body has plenty of resources to deal with that. What we really want to do is optimize protein so you're getting the most out of it. So if you want to err on the higher side of your protein intake, that's absolutely fine. So now you've got your daily calorie set and you've got your protein set, and those two numbers are really going to determine like 90% of your results. If you have adequate protein, you're maintaining and building muscle mass. And if you have your calorie set, you're going to know for sure if you're leaning out or if you're in a mass gain phase, if you're in a bulking phase. And once you have those two numbers, everything that trickles down from there. Then you can focus on preferences like, I like a little bit more carbs, or I like a little bit more fat. You could have more fruit or more vegetables. You can play with your food choices once you have those two numbers set, because those two numbers really determine the direction that you're going in for your progress. Now, I would always advise people to consume lots of fruits and vegetables, focus on lean proteins, and have adequate starches, of course, that are fibrous. So things like tubers, sweet potatoes, rice, quinoa, fruit of course is great. And then only adding a modicum of fat to your diet. Adding a lot of extra fat is not necessarily unhealthy, but it doesn't offer a lot of performance benefits in the gym. So we want to get adequate fat from unsaturated sources like avocado and olive oil. And we do need some saturated fat, which we're going to get from our protein sources. But I like to prioritize for most people a little bit more carbs than fat, because that's going to help them in the gym. It's going to keep their muscles full. They're most likely going to have more energy and they're going to feel a little bit better. But make sure you focus on food quality after you have your protein and your calories, and that's going to just determine your personal preferences, and you're going to be heading in the right direction. So you've heard a lot of information now, and you're probably thinking like, okay, where do I start? I guess I'll go to the grocery store, which you can, and I support in the biggest way. But the Strong Kitchen makes this even easier for you. Our fat loss meals and our protein plus meals are built around low-calorie options with adequate protein, with a controlled carbohydrate and fat amount so that you can lean out while you're building muscle. Our fat loss meals average around 400 calories, which is about 35 grams of protein, and they typically have between 25 to 40 grams of carbs and 10 to 15 grams of fat. That's ideal for many, many people to lean out. Our Protein Plus expands the fat loss option by adding 50% more protein. So we're going to take that 35 to 38 grams of protein, we're going to go to like 50 to 55 grams per meal. That's really helpful for people who either can't get a lot of meals in, or they're always falling short on their protein, or they don't like supplements. Protein Plus is ideal because it's low cal, so you can get your fat loss in, and it's a lot of protein, so you can get your muscle building in, and we're always loading them with fibrous carbohydrates, healthy fats, and vegetables, so you feel full and you feel really good about what you're eating. And moreover, they taste awesome, so you're looking forward to your meals. If you're looking forward to what you're eating, the calories are balanced, and you got plenty of protein, you are winning. Okay, so let's recap. At the top, what do we need you to do? We need you to weigh and measure everything, including your weight, for 1 week. Give me 1 week, and you're gonna love the direction that you're heading in. Once we have that number, we're simply making a small reduction or addition in calories to get you moving in the right direction. We don't wanna make drastic cuts because that's gonna lead to you being starving and likely overeating. Once we have our calorie number, we're gonna set our protein. With adequate protein, we know that we are recovering and we're building muscle. From there, you're just making sure you make good food choices with foods that you like, are tasty, and are filling, and are largely whole foods. There's not a lot of complexity to that. If you can do that, you are going to be on the right track. What we don't want you to do are things like eat a low protein diet. That's going to make it so hard to build muscle. It's going to make your energy levels drop. You're not going to feel your best. You're probably going to be hungry. We don't want to do drastic calorie cuts. Sure, you might lose some weight, but a lot of that's going to be water weight. You're probably going to hit a dead end really fast. You're going to feel like crap, and almost always it leads to overeating, which leads you right back to where you were in the first place, many times with more body fat than when you started, and that's a vicious cycle that we're trying to break. We want to make sure that we're also not staying up too late and going out and partying and having a lot of alcohol. You've got to recover. If you're sleeping 7 to 9 hours a night and you're drinking plenty of water, you have the perfect formula for getting the body you want without a lot of complexity. And if you plug in something like the Strong Kitchen, you don't even have to cook. We're basically doing it for you. So we're hoping that you partner with us because we want to see you get the results that you've been hoping for.